Hello, hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. Mike. Shalom, Biggie. Travis here. Welcome back, Trav.
Hello.
Missed you, buddy. Well, you were gone. You look wonderful. Look at that
Thank
hair.
you. I know,
look at
right?
That plume.
Thank you.
That plume is
all thanks to Mike Fady.
Yeah, it's Mike.
Yeah.
He's running his fingers. Does he make you lean over a tub and wash your hair first?
No, we do it outside, and it will be interesting once the winter comes. I guess I'll have to do it inside then. But we go outside. So I think we talked about. I think we talked about this in the show in the past. But my dad cut my hair
for years,
right up until like through high school, even. And he didn't do it in high school, but he used to pay me when I was a kid. He'd pay me like $5 to get because he figured that if he was saving money,
saving $20 by
right. So he'd pay me $5. And the only reason he stopped cutting my hair was because I wanted to start having a faux hawk, like punk kind of style hair, and I didn't trust that he would do that. Not that I didn't think he could do it. I didn't trust that he would actually do it. I just figured he would be like, oh, crazy.
Can't imagine him being all down with that either. I want to dye it purple.
Oh, right. No. So I stopped, and then...
Would he care now? Would he do a mohawk for you?
No, he's still one. God,
really?
no. Dude, he's still to this day. Like, I mean, if I walk... How I dressed right now, sweatpants and just whatever, he's like... He doesn't like it. He's gotten less aggressive about telling me that he doesn't like it, but every once in a while I'll be leaving the house and he'll just be like, "You gonna wear that?" I'm like, "Yeah."
Have we learned from this whole pandemic thing that maybe hairstylists are a tad overrated? Because there's not many people walking around society and I go, yep, your dog cut your hair. Like,
right.
For the most part, my mom cut my hair, my sisters cut my hair. The warden has cut my hair.
Kind of.
When I got home, I had someone cut my hair. That I normally go to.
It depends.
And I don't feel like I've been like, oh man, I'm fucked now.
Right.
And these people have zero training in hair cutting except for the salon. But
yeah. I don't know. I think it's a little mixed. Like honestly, if let's just say tomorrow you snap your fingers and everything was gone. COVID was gone. Everything was just like
back to normal.
I was going to go to a club on Saturday night. I'd still go somewhere, or at least like I would go somewhere. Like not that I'm not a fucking. What they don't even say it anymore. Remember, what was it, metrosexual? Remember that term?
Oh yeah, metrosexual.
I don't think you can say that anymore. Probably, but I'm not.
Metrosexual has gone out the window.
Oh God, no, that's a canceled word for sure. But
really?
I would assume, right?
Why would that be canceled?
Because it was essentially saying that you were a gay-looking straight male. Like he's straight.
I didn't know that was off the table. Thank you for warning me. I would have absolutely. I forgot about that.
I mean, it's probably off the table for two things. One, it's just like old man. You know what I mean? But two, I would say it was. Not.
Yeah, I can't imagine looking at a story or a person being like, metrosexual.
Look at this guy.
Look at this metrosexual walking around.
It's a boomer term.
Yeah, it is kind of a boomer term, but it's something we used. We used to call you a metrosexual like 2 years ago.
Right, I would assume. And so I would
change quick, man.
I would not describe myself as that. But I like going out. If I go to the bar, I mean, I like a kind of different hairstyles. So yeah, if things were back to normal tomorrow, I mean, but I'm still going to just go to fucking like someone I know. I'm not going to go to some $100 place or something, but I would go to some place where they know. But my dad's been doing it, and it's what do I care? It's just like
I wouldn't say it looks any different than ever,
dude.
Like,
I know.
Honestly, why would you spend any money if your dad does that kind of work? He should open a salon.
I was supposed to get my hair cut. Literally, I was going to go like 2 days before the world shut down. Like it was already like
when I was like March.
Yes, dude. Like
when I drove to Arizona, like T-Roy,
I remember those videos, dude.
Loaded up the truck and just fucking drove to Arizona.
It was like a joke.
It was hilarious. Like I remember we were in we got through Kansas and we were down in like what's the state right before Arizona where they filmed New Mexico.
Right.
We're in New Mexico and we went to the place where they shot Breaking Bad. Yeah, Los Pollos Hermanos.
Yes.
Troy's like, I know where we're going for dinner. And we went to that restaurant, where they actually filmed it and everything.
Right.
And going in there, I remember my brother called and was like, "Yeah, wash your hands. Make sure you don't touch anything." Blah, blah. And Troy and I are laughing at him like, what the fuck is he talking about?
Dude.
And then it was like within days, the whole world came to an end.
I was sitting in for one, by the way, I found out now, like I was in New York City February 20th, leap day. So basically March 1st. I found out now afterwards there was some report, there was like 50,000 cases already. I was running around till 4 a.m. at a karaoke bar, pissing, not washing my hands.
Yeah, but at that time,
I know.
Was coronavirus, was there even a case?
Yeah,
there must have been a documented
there was
case in the US
something.
of 5 of them.
Yeah, there was something. And I was sitting in the airport, and there was like the flight that was coming from Detroit, and there was a bunch of young people wearing masks. And I was like, what the fuck are these people doing?
Coming from where are they coming from? The Asian countries? What's going on here?
Like, get out. Come on. I was literally to the guy with the cat that went with me. I was like, dude, there's like 10 cases in the country. These guys wearing masks.
See, I thought you were like super on board with everything.
I was
right out of the gate.
No, I wasn't until
because
here's what happened.
You were supposed to come over here and do member content.
I'll tell you exactly
all of that went off the table.
Here's how this went down. I'm not going to say the guy's name. I think it probably wouldn't matter, but I'll just keep his name out of it still. But yes, I was doing member content because you were gone, and I thought, this is a way I can keep things up.
Yeah.
And I threw it out there to listeners, literally be like, hey, if you're a member, hit me up. Come in here, dude. You can see the studio. We'll just talk, maybe for 10 minutes, maybe for an hour. It'll be fun, whatever. And so a member...
I'm glad you didn't even tell me this. You were inviting all these strangers over to my house.
Well, luckily, no one ever came over in the end. And so this is what happened. On Friday...
Wait, did you offer that and no one took you up on it?
No, people did. And the world
didn't follow through.
No. People did. And here's what happened. This one person gets a hold of me. He goes, dude, I work at this hospital. This is bullshit. I love the show. I'm a member. I want to come on and tell everybody that like it's overhyped and you're being sold fear. I'm like, awesome, sounds great, dude, cool, perfect situation.
24 hours later.
Right, he's gonna come in on Monday. And so he did this on like Wednesday, we're talking about this. And then like Thursday's when the NBA shut down, right, and all this stuff. And so Monday morning I sent him a message. Hey man, I'd still like to talk about it, but maybe great if you don't come in. You're working at this place.
That's the whole point.
And this
coming in was the whole point.
I said, no, I know, but I'm like, hey, we'll set it up later, but I'd still love you to get this message out to our listeners. He messages me back, dude, and he's like, dude, I don't know if I can. Here's a picture of people lined up at 2 a.m. getting COVID tests. I don't want to scare people. I'm scared as shit. Be safe. And I'm like,
be safe thing.
No, but I know, but like, dude, this guy to me, less than a week later is like, this is bullshit. I'm gonna come on and tell people, and now he's like telling me, dude, I'm scared to even go on. I don't want to tell anybody. I'm gonna make
really.
And that's what hit me. That's what led to the whole thing with Lene, where I got scared the fuck.
Oh, that's the reason.
That's why
that dude broke up your relationship. That listener broke up your relationship.
That's arguable. It is arguable that he did.
I could make that. I could make that call because I remember that. Right.
The day, because the weekend before that, when the weekend as the world started ending, she was there with her kid, and we went to we didn't go inside places. We kind of were starting to be careful. Like we weren't wearing masks, but we were starting to not sit. We didn't go to restaurants because probably shouldn't. We went to Top Golf because we're like, well, it's outside,
sort of,
right, sort of outside or whatever. And we had this great weekend, great fucking weekend.
Yeah.
And then she was going to come the next weekend, and I think I would probably not actually. You know what I mean? But
no, she was not going to come the next weekend.
She wishes she was going to visit the next weekend.
Yeah, she was going to come. She was going to visit the next weekend. That's better. That's a better way to put it.
If he hadn't scared me, probably the likelihood of that week, I would have been scared. I would have been starting to wash my hands, but I probably wouldn't have thought anything of her coming or visiting, saying anything. But he put the fear of motherfucking God in me. And dude, you're right. I think he broke up my relationship in the end.
He did, for sure.
That's a guarantee.
I mean, if you're looking for things that point to why this wonderful, and we can all, let's be honest, this was a wonderful relationship that was unfolding.
I thought I was going to marry her. So.
It was blossoming. There's no doubt about it. You guys were blossoming. And if you're looking for arrows to point in the direction of who's at fault, I think Listener X is as much at fault as anyone else on planet Earth.
I mean, I was sitting in this studio that Sunday with Lene doing bonus content.
That was the big fight that led to the undoing, of one of the most beautiful courtships I've ever witnessed.
I never even thought about it in this angle, but it is kind of annoying to think about it. This motherfucker.
I got better watch his back.
Because after that, she was starting her job at Amazon, and I called her. After he got a hold of me, dude, she had gone home. It was like her first day, and he got a hold of me, and I fucking called her, and I was like, dude, don't fucking go to work. Call me back whenever you can. I wanted her to just come back to the Kennedys.
Do you wish you would have played that differently now, or you stand by those?
No, I stand by. Dude, I was like, dude, come back to the fucking Kennedys. don't worry about it. My
Yeah,
my
you didn't
mom's
even want to
bringing us.
mention that she was there.
Yeah,
or
I know.
anything. Like
Right.
you were a fucking weirdo about it. I was glad to be away from you. I
My
really
mom was bringing food. I'm like, don't even worry about it. We got this house. We'll be here for a while. We'll sort it all out.
Yeah.
Don't go to. I was scared for her. I didn't want her to go. I didn't want her to get sick. But that led to that. That fucking listener.
Yeah,
Son of a bitch.
Took you down. I don't know what it
I
is.
wanna
I've
demand
never
an apology.
from day one. I've just never been worried about this virus. Call me crazy.
Well, what's weird is I'm not.
And I don't know if that's a lack of respect for human life in general overall
I would argue
that I have,
it is, but
or a lack of any care or concern for my own well-being, historically speaking. I'm working on that. I'm getting better, but maybe that's what it is. Where I'm like,
I don't know.
Whatever.
I'm not a person. God damn it! I can't think of the word I tried to think of the other day.
Retarded?
No, that. But we're over worried. Like I'm not someone who sees a cut and go or like has a slight cough and goes, "Oh my god, I have cancer."
Yeah. Okay.
What's the fucking word for that?
Hypochondria.
Hypochondria. I'm not that. But for some reason, this just hit me. I guess harder.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. And I know the tensions between me and her also, like me taking it seriously. She really thought it was over the top. Like I wasn't trying to be a hero, but I just remember thinking like, dude, I don't have to go to places. I can keep myself in the bubble. I can one less hospital bed. And she never, I don't think really thought that. She thought it was stupid. She thought that was really stupid. And she thought I was taking it
I got
too
to side
far.
with her on this one. I really do.
But that's how I
But
thought.
that's how I thought. My doctor when this is right when I was leaving. Months ago, told me, he was like, you're literally gonna die. I'm looking at all your stuff here. You're gonna die, and I just sat there and I was like, okay, cool.
Right.
And he's like, no, you're literally gonna die. Like you're just not gonna wake up tomorrow.
Yeah,
you understand that? And I was like, I totally. So that's cool. And he was just like, Mike, do I need to commit you to a hospital? I was like, no, I'm not suicidal. I just don't give a shit either way right now. I don't care. But no, I'm not going to go home and kill myself. But if it happens, that wouldn't be the end of the world. Now, would it? Life goes on for some other people.
It certainly would.
It's okay.
I don't know. I'm not, obviously, that's not me. But
no, not at all. But
I don't think I was scared of that. Like when it came to coronavirus, I don't think that's what I don't think that I thought I would die from it.
No, I guarantee you wouldn't die. In the beginning, though,
but even my darkest moments, though, I don't think that.
There was a scare when I was in Arizona when they first started the testing coming out. They were, if you remember, like none of this shit was set up for that. It was kind of, I think I talked to you about it, and like, the president's initial reaction. It's like, it's like getting mad at the president if a fucking UFO landed over here. Now we're at war with a UFO, and you're going, why? This president's unprepared. It's like, well, yeah, it's kind of new. I think anybody would be fully unprepared for a global pandemic landing in your lap. That's just the reality.
And so as humans, we all assume it's not going to happen.
Right, of course. We're going to live in this time period where this doesn't exist. That's just the reality. So it happens. We're dealing with it. And when they first started doing testing, the most privileged of us in society could spend $1,000 a person and have a nurse come to your house and test you. And that testing proved to be wholly unreliable.
I know, which is actually kind of funny. But
wholly unreliable. And I wasn't paying for that. I didn't even give a shit. I'm with the warden and G and little Marshy Marsh. And they come and test us, and watching a fucking 4-year-old get a needle in his arm is always a treat. For those parents out there, know what I'm talking about. They lose their shit. It makes me anxious, and I'm not.
I hate needles.
I'm not even afraid of needles, really. But you get tattoos, so
they're not the same. They're not the same. No,
No,
people
they're
say
not,
that they're
but,
not. But
yeah.
it's hard to explain, but it's not. But
no, I'm with you. But I get anxious with the needle, and I'm not afraid of needles.
Right.
So you can imagine a 4-year-old how they are, and they're losing their shit. Marshals.
They don't know what's
going on. And then
on.
it came back, and they were like, all of us tested negative, and G got really, really, really sick right around December, January, right around that time. And he was in Northern California, which is where we first saw cases.
Yeah.
And it was like, fuck. I picked it up in Northern California somewhere before. This is in, like I said, December, January. He was like, I think I already had it. And so, basically the test was testing for antibodies in your system to see if you'd been exposed to it. And then maybe you're not a carrier, you're immune to being sick or whatever. And the test came back. I think I told you guys.
Yeah.
And it was all fucking like Marshall is sick. He's in the middle of it. He's got it now. It's fucked. And it was like, oh shit. And I was not in a good condition then. Not at all. That probably would have killed me for sure. But it turns out, 3 days later or whatever, they're like, oh yeah, false alarm. Sorry about that.
Right.
And so I don't know what the point to any of
Well,
that was,
I'll tell you
but,
this. I remember when you say about that, I think you were kind of getting at the point where, like, that's how crazy it was. Like, you had to pay someone, then you didn't know if you're going to be able to get tested.
Yeah.
Like, there was this thought of, like, I remember finally I had this moment where I was driving down, like, a road, M59, by where the Kennedys were, and I saw, like, one of those emergency cares of, like, we're doing testing. And it finally gave me a little bit of, like, okay, if I needed to, if I felt like I had it. But before that, it was still like, shit, man. I don't even know if I'll be able to get tested. They're just going to call me and tell me, don't worry about it. I'm going to be in this house, and I'm going to have a fever.
You were living the dream.
Oh, I really, well, in a lot of ways, I was.
Beautiful, 7-bedroom house on the lake, and no parental units at all.
Do you know the week?
You got to pretend to be a fucking like normal.
Still had food delivered to you?
Yeah, had food delivered. You had your girl there for a little bit to you and that listener fucked that all up.
Right.
But you had everything going for you. Beautiful sunsets on the lake. Dude, you could argue the pandemic was the greatest thing for Easis's world.
It's been a very good pandemic for me. But
yeah, as far as pandemics go, it was not
so far
bad
it's the
for
best
you.
I've experienced.
Yeah.
Well, in some ways. You know what's funny though? I will tell you. So go just real quick when you go back to that, how scared I was, and the Lene.
I remember talking to you.
Lene coming that weekend. God damn it.
No, she didn't.
Arriving
And hanging out with me for that weekend, the weekend of the social distancing, the weekend that led to it all. So even though we had stayed kind of apart and stuff, this is how freaked out I was. She was there for that weekend, and she went back to Grand Rapids and started working for the whole week. I was counting every day from the day she left. It's like, okay, 1 day, haven't felt anything. 2 days. I was taking 2 showers a day, changing my clothes twice a day,
Cleanest you've ever been.
washing my face.
Shit.
I was like,
your body must have been so confused.
But like the week and a half after she left, I mean, dude, I would just literally I would take, like I said, 2 showers a day, washing my face, changing my clothes, and she wasn't even there anymore, and there was nothing there that I was like, I couldn't get infected anymore. I didn't do anything.
Yeah.
But it was funny. Good times.
COVID has led us to this crazy election. We're going through the election cycle right now. As of the recording of this show, no one's been announced as a winner, as far as I know. They haven't mentioned Nevada or anything like that. And if I don't know what you guys think. I think it's pretty clear Biden is probably going to win this thing.
Yeah, I think he's going to win.
Yeah.
I'm up in the air on how much I believe. I think there's some shady stuff.
Yeah.
I just don't know how much.
I hate when people do this on the other side. We see it every few years. People get ramped up. Oh my God, they're trying to fucking, alter the vote, and they're trying to depress the vote, and they're trying to. And I hate all that stuff. And so I'm going to stay on that side and go, I hate all this stuff. I don't like all this stuff. If Trump loses this election, which more than likely he will have lost this election because he lost the white male vote. That's the reality.
Right.
Like, there was overwhelming turnout from everybody. He gained with black men. He gained with black women. He gained with Latino men, Latino women, Asian men and women. The only category he fucking dropped in was white men.
Right.
You're welcome. You're welcome, Democratic America. If you wanted this guy to go down so bad, you're welcome. The racist white man took this evil fucking racist lord out of office for you. That's the reality of it. So
you know what's funny? I'm telling you, all I think he needed to do, and I know whether you
shut up. He should have put a lid on his campaign and gone in the basement for 7 months. It would have helped him.
When I went out to visit my brother, when you talked about, like, it had almost the appearance the other day that I made this split decision to go a different.
It sure did.
But I didn't. And when I came back from that trip in Montana, which was around July 4th. Dude, again, I'm not saying you have to all believe that coronavirus is the most evil thing ever, but if he had just mildly handled it a little better or looked a little more professional, and if he had handled the civil unrest with Black Lives Matter just a little better, not saying he had to bow down to BLM, but I remember coming back from that trip, and he had done like a big 5,000, 10,000 person thing at like the Mount Rushmore and open spaces and no mask, and he's up there babbling on about. And in my opinion, he didn't even have to fully believe it. But if he had just, like you said, either one, shut up, or two, just treat them a little more professionally, I think he would have won.
Yeah, I think
100%.
I think in the end, his rambling bully pulpit is what did him in.
For sure.
You know, like what you're seeing in this election was not bad. If you're a Republican, they're going to gain seats in the Senate, or hold the Senate, gain seats in the House. This this whole like idea of packing the court, and AOC is going to get appointed to some position and run liberal madness around the country, and we're going to load more states, Washington, D.C. and Puerto Rico, and that'll gain Senate seats for the left. The left will win every election for eternity. That narrative is fucking done. It's over. It failed. They're not going to control the Senate. They lost seats in the House. The Democrats really kind of got a resounding ass whooping, except for the presidency. And that
actually, I have a few people on my my feed who are very progressive, and they're bitching. They're saying they're embarrassed about their country.
Yeah,
they wanted to take the Senate. They wanted to sweep the president. They wanted.
They thought it was going to be a giant blue wave.
Come on,
it's just.
What do you really expect?
The gridlock is good for this country. The change that happens historically in this country, you don't want radical change. You don't want one party in complete control. You just don't. Jay has talked about this for years.
By the way.
About what?
Honestly, all I thought about all election, he's gonna get destroyed and blah blah blah.
Oh, I know.
What an obnoxious
and if not for coronavirus and that talking point narrative being pushed as hard as it was, I think Trump does win in a landslide.
I do too.
I think Trump wins in a fucking landslide. The fact is, the coronavirus happened, and it shut the economy down. It enabled all the talking heads to point to he's the reason why. I mean, shit, Keith Olbermann a week ago was calling for Donald Trump to be held responsible for all 220,000 deaths. He should be facing the death penalty for each one.
Wow.
Like, fucking batshit.
You
batshit.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah.
I mean,
To
crazy.
all of them. Okay.
Yeah, each count he should go on capital murder charge. Like, it's a global pandemic.
That must be it, dude. I know we talk about the news being a TV show.
It's a TV show. 100%.
I hope that man doesn't believe that. I hope that's a very unstable human being if you believe that.
Well, he was unstable before, and he would do his nightly Trump is Hitler report online, and just bluster and fucking nonsense. He would scream. He was a total Russiagator. All that nonsense for months, and it finally got to his head. He almost went batshit crazy,
and
had to shut it down.
I'd like to see what he does.
That's
what
why
his day-to-day life is like.
He's probably a nightmare. He's He's as smug as anyone you'll ever see, and who cares? Those people exist. This idea that Joe Biden has the key to unlock coronavirus is a comical narrative. If you read Joe Biden's plan, which I have here, I don't want to bore everyone to death.
Basically just wear masks,
it's
social distance, and wash
basically the
your
same
hands.
thing as Trump's.
Except he's going to be more united, just kind of more, hey, we need to do this.
He's going to be more politician-like.
Right.
He's going to be more he's going to go up and bullshit you from a pulpit more than Trump does. Trump goes, live your life. What Trump basically did was handed it down to the states. Climates are different. Areas are different. Populations are different. I'm going to leave it up to the lower courts, the lower people in power in your areas to handle this. There's an overall mandate. It's basically the same thing as what Biden's saying. Not much has changed between their plans. He wants to ramp up testing. He wants to put together a committee to have a
bipartisan committee.
As if there's bipartisan in politics, period. So we're gonna come up with a plan to distribute a vaccine when it becomes available. Yeah, the president said that too, long time ago. He said the National Guard, the military would be deployed and make it readily available to everybody. Well, I want to make sure that there's social distance. Biden's calling for social distance. Where have you been? I don't care where you are in the country. Where have you been where they don't have social distancing and, for the most part, masks everywhere? It's not a federal law. You're not going to throw people in jail for not wearing a mask. That's not
right,
their
and I wouldn't
place.
expect that.
And that's not their place. So what's Biden going to do? He's going to have people stand 6 feet apart. He's going to have fucking plexiglass up at your favorite restaurant. He's going to make sure capacity's lower in the restaurant. Where is that not going on right now already?
That's everywhere.
Are you struggling to get testing done anywhere? I mean, I don't want to speak out. You know, I mean, it was very easy in Arizona. It was very easy in Los Angeles. Very easy in San Francisco, and it's very easy in Detroit. Troy the other day felt like shit. It was probably a hangover that was really advanced, but we don't know. No one's safe. But it was like, oh fuck, he went and in a day got a COVID test and results. Like, where is he? Didn't spend a fortune to do it.
Yeah.
So this idea that Joe Biden's going to come in, Uncle Joe's going to come in with this whole plan and make all the COVID go away and all. Well, you know, now we can just mourn the 220,000 lives we lost, the souls. As if Joe Biden gives a flying fuck about those people. Stop it. He's a career politician.
I like
stop it.
At the I think it was the debate that he basically insinuated that if Trump was left to be in office, there could be upwards of 200,000 more by the end of this year. And I'm like, that's not going to happen.
No,
but
not at all.
And the thing is, he'll be very lucky because in reality, you know, people know how long pandemics tend to last, and based on when he's going to take over, which is what, end of January. You know what I mean? Like the chances are, within his first 100 days, it will be kind of gone. Just because that's how pandemics tend to go, like about a year-ish.
So Biden, I would direct the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, working with organized labor and employee groups, blah, 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 just a bunch of fucking people in a room, to figure out what protections workers need on the job during this period. A mask and some fucking hand sanitizer. How about that? They're already doing that, sir. What more do they need? Do you want to get bodysuits for the workers and labor unions? Is that what you want to do? What exactly is this? How is this any different than what's already being done?
I'm going to be able to go on my cruise this spring. Things are going to be back to normal. Come on.
No one's going to die ever, either. No one's going to die. It's crazy.
Under Joe Biden, no one will die. No Americans.
I could go through the bullshit policy stats and what they're each going to do. They're basically the same thing, because that's the fact. You're working really hard to find a vaccine. You know, Biden says, well, we'll get together with the Defense Act team, whatever that law was that passed years ago that made it so you can go, hey, Ford, fuck you. Stop making doors for cars and start making masks. You know, but that's already been done.
And by the way,
he wants to ensure that hospitals have enough beds. Are you really worried that hospitals don't have enough beds if there's a breakout somewhere?
I do
I'm not in the fucking least.
I am
not
a little bit.
least.
I am a little bit. I think over the winter is going to be. I do think the winter is going to be tough. And I think that one thing when people hear like coronavirus isn't going to kill you, blah blah blah. I do think people. I understand that. But I do think that people forget that you do go into the winter and there are more people in beds.
But we have better therapy now.
I get it.
Absolutely.
I'm not saying that it's dead. I'm just saying I don't think that it's...
You can't discount the trouble that comes with a closed economy. You just can't.
I didn't ask for a closed economy. I'm just saying.
Well, that's what Biden has threatened, and I don't.
For that.
Here's my thought. By the way, Biden wins this election, which we've called from the beginning, basically. Coronavirus becomes much less of a conversation.
Well, death count's off. Good for anyone who cares. Death count is off.
You're going to stop hearing about Russiagate bullshit, and you're going to stop hearing about coronavirus as much. It's going to, because Joe Biden understands the need to open up the country if you're going to get the economy growing. He knows the death rates are extremely, extremely fucking low. The handling in the beginning is where the problem was, when you sent sick people back into homes, into nursing homes. 40,000 dead in New York and New Jersey alone. Like, those were the early on disasters that happened.
Did you?
What?
Did you watch, by the way? So SNL, I'm not going to say that I've loved all of their bits, but their hosts have been incredible. You know what I mean? Bill Burr and what's his...
Chappelle's next week.
Yeah, and this week was, what's his name?
John Mulaney.
Did you watch that?
Yeah.
It's really good, man. And did you see his vid on... So you saw it, obviously. His thing on Como. And doing those press conferences, holy fuck!
Yeah,
I mean, looking back on those things, that they were just like every day at noon.
Oh yeah,
he was just up there for 2 hours.
They were talking about him for president.
I know,
for president, he literally killed 75% more people than any other state in America.
But because he was up during these press conferences,
it's remarkable the media spin on Cuomo. It's unbelievable. That dude single-handedly, the decisions he made early on. literally killed 40,000 people.
But because he got up there though and spoke like softly, and people hate Trump.
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
why because he just kind of got up there, and you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Those were 2-hour long press conferences.
Going back to the election stuff that's going on, we kind of expected this. There was only a couple ways this could go. You have a landslide one way, you have a landslide the other way, or we're going to get this kind of gridlock, unknown. I don't understand how. Well, the ballots came in Tuesday night, and we counted 75% of them, but now there's still 20,000 ballots to count, and we can't get to that till Friday. Like, why?
Yeah.
What the fuck does that? You counted millions of votes in one night. Why does it take you 3 days? Do you just want the attention on you? Do you want the cameras focused on you for 3 days? Nevada, what is the holdup? You have 20,000 votes to go. Arizona has a few 100,000 votes to go. I don't understand.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that.
I'm not going to get into conspiracy theories, but it leapt off the TV screen at me how fast Arizona was called for Biden. Like,
how slow Florida was for Trump.
Florida was for Trump. Yeah, yeah. And I don't even want to get into the conspiracy of, well, why haven't they called North Carolina? Why haven't they called Georgia? Those look like they were Trump's. It looked fucking weird. The people I know in Arizona say Trump will kill in Arizona. My vote is wasted. They were Biden supporters, said, my vote is wasted here. I know that. I'm going to vote anyways. My vote means nothing. That's what people were telling me. Driving around Arizona, you know, Maricopa County, shit tons of flags and stickers.
Did you vote in Arizona before you came back?
No.
Damn
I did
it.
not. No, I'm registered here, man. I fucking walked in and I voted here.
I thought you voted are in both places.
Yeah. I requested some ballots. I don't know if they showed up. You know, whether that's true, you know, a lot of people I think California is way more purple than people think, right? It's a super majority, politically speaking, in California is blue, blue, blue. There's a lot more right-leaning people in California than you have any idea. Arizona, like, it's a lot. It's shocking to me that Fox News would call that, and it was Fox News that called it first for Biden and the AP. The other five still have not called that. Now, here's what I'll say about this, because Trump, first off, needs to get Twitter out of his fucking hands.
Oh, my God.
His press conferences and the things he's saying about it's fraud, they're ripping it off, like all that shit. Someone
Well,
needs
even
to
that
put
night, that was the
terrible,
most dog shit thing I would
terrible.
Just
So I'm going to try to be positive here, and this is not going to be good for my Trump friends, but there are some things to look forward to. When Biden's up there speaking, you're not going to be gripping the table like, oh shit, what's he going to say?
What's he going to say? What's he going to say? Yeah.
Trump is still going to have Twitter, so he's still going to take pot shots.
Dude, I would not
years.
rule out a 2024 Trump rerun.
Oh, God,
I swear to
not.
God.
You can.
I'm not even kidding. I could see that dude thinking, because he'll believe he was robbed if he loses, which he will. I could absolutely see him. The party, more people voted for him than have ever voted for a Republican candidate since 1960. More people voted in this election than percentage-wise than this country has seen since 1900. There's a tremendous amount of support for Donald Trump out there. So I would not put it past that guy running in 2024. That being said, what Trump's campaign has done, when you look at pollsters nationally, what I've seen, Biden's got his team of pollsters, and the DNC has theirs, the RNC has theirs. The right wing, you know, the Trump campaign has theirs. What I remember from 2016's election was that the people behind the scenes that you don't really know from Trump's team were early on board with the mathematics behind it, with social media and trends there, and they nailed it. They knew Trump was going to win in 2016 by the slightest of margins. They knew what counties in America that was going to happen in. That's why they spent 100th of the money that Hillary's team spent. It was, and you go, how do they win? You know, they spent, you know, $1 million and Hillary's team spent $1 billion because they knew where they needed to attack. They knew where the soft spots were that they could get potential votes. They focused on those and they rode that to a 2016.
That's only going to get better.
Shock the nation election, right?
With AI and the processing, it's just going to get crazier next time. And next
they'll
time.
just
Trump's team right now, though.
Just read my face. They'll just go through everyone's Facebook messages and tell,
Yeah.
oh, this is who I'm going to vote
what
for.
Mike's talking about, like to go to Genesee County.
I know.
Yeah, and know that this is where we need to focus.
Right.
So the reason I'm not holding out hope or anything like that, I don't want to say it like that, but the only reason, normally I would be going, shut up, go away. You lost an election, dude. But the way Arizona flipped after an hour and a half after the polls closed seemed criminal in a way. Like, there's no way. And the fact that there's a discussion 3-4 days later says that those pollsters got it wrong. Fox News. And
what do you mean? They had that big
AP.
machine or whatever
Right,
they said.
right.
The voting tabulator, like a 10,000.
And normally I don't listen to Trump and his bluster and all that shit. But those people gained my trust in 2016 that they sort of knew something that a lot of people didn't know. And their math, their algorithms were telling them, fuck you, you need to uncall Arizona for Biden because that state's not over. And it's a simple math equation. They know how many votes are outstanding in Maricopa County, and which is Phoenix. It's the big area there where you're going to get the majority of votes. Majority are going to, like, there's a percentage take that Trump needs. And so they're saying when these 400,000 votes come in, the percentage for Donald Trump needs to be 57% to 63%. If that happens, like our math tells us it will, then he will claim Arizona by Friday. That's what his people are saying. They had a smaller drop today from Maricopa County. He took 57% of those votes.
Right.
So I'm not saying he's going to take it. My guess is it'll probably, for whatever reason, he'll still lose it. But they haven't been wrong yet about this. That's all I'm saying. And if you want to see a fucking nightmare go down, have Arizona flip to Trump and then start this shit again, because that's a whole new ball game. That's a whole new ball game. Not saying that's likely. I'm just saying that's what's hanging out there. And I don't think you can make that call just yet on Arizona, and everything hangs there. Take Nevada off the table because they wouldn't have enough without Arizona. And if that happens, can you imagine the reaction of the country? People thinking Trump somehow went in and stole Arizona.
Oh, no. I don't know which one I want, to be honest.
It'll turn into a shit show. It'll turn into a shit show. And here's the thing. People are going, Fox News. Why would Fox News, of all people, why would they're the Trump guys. Make no mistake about it. When you're dealing with your media, Fox News does not give a shit who wins the presidency.
Right.
Period. Fox News makes more money personally if Joe Biden is the president. They become the opposition media party.
Right.
And they're alone. They're the opposition media. They will make more money as a network with Biden as president than they will with Donald Trump as president. So don't think for a second Fox News gives a flying fuck who wins this election. I'm not talking about Sean Hannity, but Fox News.
Yeah.
And people need to understand that Fox News is really two stations. You've got your opinion guys at night that are just that. They're opinion guys. Hannity, Tucker, Laura Ingraham, all that shit. Their news desk is much more respected during the day. Their actual Fox News reporting and that kind of stuff is a more respected nationally news service. Play it down the middle. It's a little weird they called that so early. I was watching Steven Crowder. He was, I was looking for live coverage that wasn't CNN or MSN or things like that. And Steven Crowder did 8 hours election night with 8 million viewers.
Wow.
Fucking unbelievable. He got more viewers than ABC News did. And the next day, he did his mug club, which is what he and Dave Landau do.
Yeah.
Crowder. And it was really fun to watch his take, but there were a lot of conspiracy theories going on. And that stuff drives me nuts. That's the stuff, that I just don't see. Channel 7, I think. Did you see the video? This broke on Steven Crowder's show, Louder with Crowder. They had lawyers vetting this. There was video captured at Cobo Hall, TCF. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
TCF, whatever. It's Cobo fucking Hall. At Cobo Hall at 4 a.m. Nefarious van pulls up, all white van, opens the door.
Out-of-state plates.
Out-of-state plates. They start wheeling in baskets and wagons filled with votes. And my first question was, how do you know those are votes in there? Did you go look in that? Like,
right.
Why are we assuming these are votes?
Yeah, that is a funny point.
You know what I mean? Like, look at all these people with suitcases filled with votes. Look at all these people with igloo ice coolers filled with votes. I'm like, or it could be an apple and a sandwich. How the hell do we know what's in there? But it leads to those nefarious things. XYZ, Channel 7 here locally in Detroit, came out and said, yeah, that was our camera guy. Here's the wagon.
Right. Yeah,
He's got to go downstairs with this thing to set up for the shoot later that day. It doesn't look good to have an unguarded Cobo Hall. You know, that stuff looks bad when you have voting precincts and they're putting up, you know, stuff to cover so people can't see. You know, if you watched Fox, it was, oh, anybody on the right was cut out of there. He couldn't come in here and keep an eye on things. They kept us 50 yards away. If you watched MSNBC, they were keeping all the Democratic pollsters out of the room. We couldn't watch it. So both taking shots at each other, saying we're being left out, and it's our legal right. It's our legal right to go in and be able to keep an eye on this so there's no funny business. And you did that to yourselves, polling stations around the country. You've had issues over the years, Pennsylvania, Philadelphia, lots of them, where nefarious shit has gone on and and it's been proven in courts. That shit goes on. It's a very small percentage. But that stuff, those shenanigans go on. So you can understand why people on the left and people on the right, they want to have bodies in there to keep an eye on things and just go, hey, where did you pull that stack of shit out from? What's that about? Can we just keep an eye on this, keep the line moving, and we'll just stand, 12 feet back and keep an eye on things? And apparently, the people that were kicked out of there, well, you've got a limit. I think it's 134 people on each side are allowed in these areas to kind of keep an eye on the various areas around the perimeter and just kind of watch things. Well, 200 people on the left showed up for one. And then people on the right were bitching, like, why do they get 200 people in here where the max is 134 or whatever it is? And so they kick a bunch of people out. And then people go, oh, we're on the left, we got kicked out. It's like, no, motherfucker, you've hit the max. And then, so it's things like that. It looks bad, but the other thing that was going around, Wisconsin, this is outrageous. More people voted than there are registered voters. This is outrageous. There's not even this many voters in Wisconsin. They've got more than that.
Right.
But if you want to believe that that's the case, you can. The fact is they have same-day voter registration in Wisconsin. So it upped
a lot of people this year.
A lot of people showed up for the first time and voted same-day registration, and that upped those numbers.
Right.
It's not some vast conspiracy theory. And the thing that gets me is you can't have it both ways. You can't say, Detroit, these polling stations, absolute incompetence, the buffoonery from these people. They don't even know which foot to put their shoes on.
Right.
They're so incompetent. Yet at the same time, they're geniuses who have found a way to rig the whole system and fucking steal this election.
Yeah.
Well, which is it? Are they fucking retarded, incompetent morons, or are they stealing the election for their side? Because it can't be both.
Well, it can.
Not really.
I know.
Not
when
really.
you watch TV, everything's just set up for it to be both, though. That's the same thing about Trump. The whole thing with, he's an absolute idiot, but then also he created, he had the mastermind a whole election that he stole from Russia that he took 4 years to prove. So, you'd sit there and have these people just go, this guy doesn't even fucking know how to spell blank on Twitter. He's an absolute buffoon. But then they sit there and go, but he stole the election from Russia.
Genius. Like, okay. It's, I think there is, the voter fraud angle, if you want to look at it, I think is it Pennsylvania that extended by 3 days past the election to have votes come in?
Yeah.
And that was done at the lower Supreme Court. The Pennsylvania Supreme Court made that decision. It's probably unconstitutional, that decision, because the rules, the polling rules were set the way they are in that state where, it ends on election day. You've got shit that's postmarked or in on this day that gets counted. Anything else doesn't. You got to have some sort of guidelines. And so to have a Supreme Court come in at a state level, 2 weeks out and decide this just arbitrarily, that's going to get bound up in a court. It is. It'll play out. That will go to court. And even if you cancel those votes, say you go, okay, Trump wins this round of this fight.
Yeah.
And we all those votes don't count. You're talking about a trickle in. You're talking about a couple hundred votes one day, 100 votes the next day, and slightly less than 50 votes. So if you've got someone with a lead of 50,000 votes, and it's like, oh, well, these nefarious ones came in. Yeah, 250 of them did. The court's going to throw that right out. They're going to go, this would have no effect, and we're not going to waste our time with this. So, Arizona's the one to keep an eye on. That's the one, You know, Philadelphia's had so many problems historically with voter issues and fraudulent things, judge being paid off to look the other way at votes, fraudulent votes. I think he was convicted for that, 4 years ago, 2 years ago, something like that. It all leads to the erosion of this thing that we do on some level. But Sharpie Gate going around.
Yeah.
You know, that's bullshit. Those votes are going to get counted. You know, I know people were pointing at things. Look at these ones. These people, it says all of them were born in 1900. They're 120 years old and they all voted. Like, those were sample ballots. Someone took a snapshot of a sample ballot. That's all that is. It's not a bunch. You know, there was the one in the community. Where was that?
Well, there has been people though, like pulling up though, like going through the online and typing in names.
Sure.
And so I don't know how many there are.
And there are baskets of that, and those will be contested. I assume on some level that will go to the courts and get played out. I think it's a very small number.
Oh, I do too.
There really isn't. You know, I know people. It sucks to lose. It sucks when your side loses, and I keep trying to do this mentally. It's hard to do a mental gymnastic to put yourself in the other person's shoes. And what would you think if this was going on against your side? And then you go, well, fuck that. And I find myself, it's easier to do that now, to get in someone else's shoes a little bit and go, oh, no. I would not like this if the other guy was throwing up all these things and bitching wild conspiracy theories about it's rigged.
Yeah.
No,
sure.
I wouldn't. I don't like that. And so I can't like it when, you know, I voted conservative. I lean liberal on majority of things in my life. I'm for a smaller government. I am. I'm not for, you know, the Green New Deal. And you're going to, you know, that the Green Party's coming along. You're going to get your way eventually.
I don't.
The People's Movement will be on the next election.
Yeah.
There's going to be an expansion to where we get away from these two parties.
I hope so.
Because these two parties are not any different. That's why the Democrats really don't give a shit. The Democrats are really pissed off about this election because the White House really doesn't matter as much as the Senate and the House. That legislative branch matters more. And the ass whooping they took after the $1 billion they spent, you know, they thought they were going to take down Lindsey Graham. They thought they were going to take down Mitch McConnell. And they spent $100 million in each of those elections and got fucking mopped. Got mopped. The American people weren't buying it. The American people were not buying that we're all racist, fucking xenophobic, homophobic. It's just not true.
Yeah.
And the American people voted that way. So it's, you know, we'll see how this plays out. I'm not terribly worried about it. My guess is Trump will lose. But I will go on record and say, for all the erosion of trust in the major, you know, parts of America that we've come to be, you know, like whether it's government officials, media members, like that has eroded so much that it, you know, I look at what the Trump campaign did in 2016, what they were right about, and those same guys are seeing those arrows in Arizona. So I say, hey, I'm willing to listen. You earned that from me because of your behavior last time. You weren't wrong. You weren't wrong by 17 polling points in Wisconsin. You weren't wrong by 7 points in Florida. You weren't wrong with minority voters across the board. So, you know, I'm willing to listen.
I will say this.
Willing to listen.
I really hope that this doesn't drag out too long. Honestly,
I don't think it will. I don't.
But other than that, I was driving around a lot on election day, and I was flipping back and forth between JR and NPR, and honestly, I really felt good about it. I mean, I honestly, my voting experience
Felt
was
good about what?
Just the whole experience. I was hearing enough people. You know, I know we have this going on now, but I mean, how it was led up to. I almost thought it was going to be even that day was going to be like, you know, just like fights, and we're going to start hearing mobs. And I just heard from so many people and saw so many people on my social media and stuff that posted that I voted and stuff like that. And, you know, people showed up, and I don't know, I felt really good on election day, actually. Like I remember like about the whole thing. It's just like, hey, this is going down pretty smoothly. Like it was very smooth. If you take away this, I know this aspect of it, but
yeah, and you know, when you've got 330 million people in a country, there's probably bound to be some some nefarious things that pop up.
People should think about it,
It's
too,
probably
like-
good that we don't have a national election style, right?
Right,
It
right.
would be way easier to
my God.
find loopholes and
Oh, my God.
rig something.
That's
if
why
it
this
was
is set up
across
so
the
well.
board. The way it's set up, where each precinct has their own style and way of doing things.
know how many
Think
people-
about how much that limits how much nefarious behavior is allowed to go on. Like if you had a national plan to do something like that, you just can't pull that off.
Do people? I know that's the other thing. And look,
People
I'm not
don't even know
naive.
what the rules are in various communities.
You're not naive. I'm not naive. I don't sit here, dude. I don't think I'm okay with certain, things like aliens, stuff like that. So I'm not someone who just blind to stuff. But like you just said there, dude, think about that. Every county and every city, every state has people, and these are just regular people running
Yeah,
it, man. They're
yeah.
just people.
And I like
it's
that they're usually old.
I know.
You know, there's something about an old person you just trust. Like there's just like a warm fall feeling about an old guy.
Well, 'cause they're doing
an
it.
old
My
lady
father-in-law does
going.
it.
What's that?
My father-in-law does
Of
it.
course he does, as he should. And there's something warm. It's like a fucking starter at a golf thing. And it's you got some old white guy, whatever, some old black woman, some old white woman. They're sitting there and they're like, oh, okay, let's see. Okay, there.
The ruler. Pull out the ruler.
Walter,
Check the
are
wrong
you
line.
still at the same address? Yes, I am. Okay, here's your thing. You're gonna want to go over there, get a pen.
All these people
Like,
have to be in on the fix, dude. All
They
these
all
people.
have to be in on the fix, and I just can't see one of those sweet old people, rigging the system like that. Now, that
Yes,
could be my
it
privilege.
happens, and it does-
That could be my privilege and our privilege. I'm in a this area of Franklin. There's nothing nefarious going on in Franklin.
No, it
Michigan.
happens. It happens, and it does happen in places, and there's been history of it happening. But
Yes.
overall, again,
I'd be more worried about a downtown Philadelphia or Detroit, not because of, that's minority mostly, blah, blah. No, but just sheer volume.
Right.
Like there's so many more people. There's so many more people involved. Like mine, there's like 4 old people and then like 12 booths. You know what I mean? Like it's easy to keep an eye on. There's 4 old people that aren't going to let you get away with any shenanigans, mister.
and people
And
need
so
to,
for that,
people need to really realize, man. You got to think. Some of these people on social media, you got to think when you're standing in that line. Unless someone's wearing a MAGA hat. Just think to yourself, you're driving around the road. Do you know who that person drove by you voted for? No, because they're
Yeah.
just a fucking human.
Yeah.
And they placed some vote for somebody that they thought was the best person. I don't fucking hate anyone that voted for Biden.
course
I don't
not.
hate people that voted for Hillary. And I thought she was evil.
Pure evil.
I thought she was pure
legitimately
evil, and you know
pure
what?
evil.
Still is.
Still is.
I
Yeah,
agree.
yeah.
But I don't, you know what? If someone came
Probably eats babies. Honestly, I wouldn't put it past her to eat children.
But it's like, but I don't go up to, I don't find out that someone voted for Hillary and go, oh my God.
See, now Hillary's a different one. That's a weird one.
I still don't.
I lose a smidge of respect for someone who voted.
I don't, because you know what? We know so much
I'm
more about the.
kidding you.
Oh, I know, but we know so much more about the echo chamber, and we know so much more about social media that the reality is, you don't know what they were seeing. You just don't know.
Yeah.
You don't know what stories they were reading, and I wasn't getting, and they were getting.
It was really funny today to watch, and just by accident, I was kind of flipping around before you guys got here, and I was like, I was watching them on Fox News talk about, oh yeah, they've locked all these, all of our anybody conservative that wants to keep an eye on things and make sure everything's okay. They've locked us out, and I was like, well, that does seem kind of bullshitty. Like, why would you?
It's so easy
And
to
then
get-
I bumped into MSNBC, and they're doing a report. Yeah, we're broadcasting live here from Detroit, Michigan.
Democrats
and this is outrageous. They won't let the Democrats in to oversee, blah, blah, blah. And you're like, okay, this is why people don't trust it. If you're watching this channel, you
And
think
you're
your team's getting fucked left and right. And if you watch this channel, your team, then that team's getting fucked over and over and over again.
Right.
It's just...
It's too bad. But I think overall, like you said, it is what it is. And I will
Yeah.
say this: so the people that say you don't get the popular vote, Republicans don't win the popular vote because they have California.
care about the
I know, but
popular vote.
and it's not how our thing is set up. It's not how our thing is set up, and it's like,
And I hope it doesn't change.
I hope it doesn't either.
I really, really do, because it would be, I know people want, a lot of people on the left. Obviously, you're going to get the popular vote. You got New York City, you've got Los Angeles,
And then boom,
San
you're
Francisco.
dead
It's
deal.
done.
Done deal. Why even have an election?
You would never, there's nobody who would ever campaign again in Pennsylvania or Michigan or Ohio or Montana or name it.
And by the
they
way,
wouldn't need to. They would go to Florida, they would go to Texas, they would go to New York, they would go to California.
and as I've gotten
That's
older,
it. And the fact is, when you're around those people on the coasts, they just fucking are different than the Midwest values that tons of people have. It's a different vibe in LA. I don't feel as welcome or at home in LA or San Francisco or New York as I do in Detroit. There's just a different lifestyle that's being led in Iowa than there is in Los Angeles. Yep. That's the beauty. That's what makes us America. It makes it great. You don't want to take all that away and just give it to the left and right coast. That wouldn't be good. And so all the people that go, we keep winning the popular vote, you need to listen to the people. I'll say it. That's like going into the World Series, winning game 1 13-1, and then losing the next 4-1-0 and going, we scored more runs than you did. We scored 13 and you only scored 4. Yeah, well, the goal isn't to score the most runs. That's not how it works.
Right. And so when you talk about, like I said, as I get older, when you talk about the idea that they wouldn't go to Iowa, I think the cynic would just be like, what does that matter? So what? They fly in there, they tell you that they're Trump, not the Trumps, their stump speech. But you know what? As I get older, like that does matter. There is something about making Biden have to go into Iowa and look at people and stand there and say, this is why you should
town halls that we see when he challenges people to push-up contests.
Totally.
We don't want to miss out on that.
No, of course not. But I know they're corny, and I know that sounds a little idealistic, but I think there is something to that. And they wouldn't have to. Like you said, they wouldn't have. If you did by popular vote, he would never have to go to those cities. And so what? Why? And so now they have a president.
They call them the flyover states for a reason.
They have a president that didn't even have to go to their state and at least give them an opportunity to have this guy tell them why he should be their leader.
No, it doesn't make any sense. But Biden's camp made a call. They were doing a lid almost every day the months leading up to this. 9:30 a.m. shutting his campaign down. Look, the election's over now. Okay, I'm going to tell you Biden's won. So saying that, I still am very interested in the Hunter Biden story. That was not bullshit. That was a real story. But honestly, your team won. So let's leave it at that. If you're on the left, your team won the presidency. Okay, so take that. Be happy with that. I'm telling you today, now with nothing on the line, people have voted. The election's over. Something is wrong with Joe Biden. Joe Biden is a 78-year-old white man who it's crystal. Go watch videos. Go on YouTube. Pull one up right now of Joe Biden speaking on the Senate floor in the 90s. Listen to that Joe Biden and listen to Joe Biden today. That's just the reality.
I know.
It's why I kept saying you could literally nominate a bowl of soup. Today, running against President Trump in the 2020 election is this bowl of chili. That bowl of chili would have gotten 40% of the vote, period. They're looking at the exit polls now, nobody changed their vote. 80% of people, 90% of people knew exactly who they were voting for in October, in September. They knew. They knew in February who they were voting for. So, but I know, it's exciting around here. I know people that were going to Trump rallies. I don't know.
For sure.
Biden wasn't having rallies. So, it's very, very scattered, but anecdotal at best. But people were excited. People that weren't even voting age that were fans of his and his vision for the country were going to those things. And yeah, that stuff is exciting.
I wish I could have gone. I didn't feel like doing it because of the situation, how I'm handling COVID. But honestly, it's almost something I'm bummed out that I didn't get to experience. I had a friend that went to the one in Waterford.
I would have pegged you.
I would have gone.
But you would have gone to a Biden rally too.
Yeah, I would have.
I think you like the
I would have,
the people.
But there is no question, dude. I watched a lot of his on Facebook Live, and it's like, dude, you can say all you want about propaganda and he's this and that, but man, dude, I like America quite a bit.
Yeah, I know you do.
And watching those, it's the only time in years I've really got. A few times I would watch on Facebook, and I'd like, holy shit, fucking America, the flags, and and the USA chants, and it's like. I remember when we used to do that, when it used to be okay to go USA and shit.
It still is.
It is, but I'm just, you know what I mean.
And, there's a lot of people that still believe it. And there's even more people that see through the bullshit. I think that's a nice tell, the way this vote's broken down. And, there's a lot of things I don't like. Whether you like the turtle Mitch McConnell, I totally understand why people would despise Mitch McConnell. I totally respect and understand why you would hate Lindsey Graham. equally as much as I know why people would hate Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer. That being said, I think it's fucking bullshit that out-of-state parties can run up $100 million
Right.
and direct it at your state here in South Carolina and Kentucky and try to take someone down when some billionaire from Silicon Valley can drop $100 million in one district trying to fucking, really, you want to do this? We're going to take your guy out? That's bullshit.
Yep.
That seems like election meddling to me. And I'm sure it goes on some level on both sides. That was very disturbing to see that behavior. And it's obviously it's legal. It just stinks.
Yeah.
It smells when you see that kind of behavior going on. And I'm glad America saw through that bullshit and went, no. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, on principle alone. Again, this is on principle. I'm not a big Mitch McConnell fan. I get it. I understand how people would go, Lindsey Graham, Mitch McConnell, people like that swore, take my word for it. If blah, blah, a seat opens up during an election year, we would never nominate something. Like, I understand how people remember those comments and, not the president, but nonetheless, people on the right would feel the same way if Nancy Pelosi said that or, Chuck Schumer. But I don't know. I think there's a lot of damage and repair to this country that needs to happen. I fucking hate Adam Schiff for the Russiagate shit that went on. That he absolutely 100% put this nation through hell and back for 4 fucking years during that Russiagate propaganda bullshit. It was bullshit.
Right.
I'm sorry. It was. Adam Schiff was going in on the floor. He was doing behind door meetings and telling those people that no, there's nothing here. There's nothing here. Those closed door meetings off the record or on the record, but not for public consumption. Those were 100%. He was saying one thing to them and then say, because he's not allowed legally. It's a federal crime to talk about what's discussed in those Senate hearings behind closed doors. So he can't go out and say it, but he was able to hide behind that. Well, what I'm seeing, I'm telling you this. There's no law against lying to the American people, which is what he was doing.
Right.
He was going to those meetings and he was saying, no, we don't have any evidence. We haven't found anything yet. Well, maybe. That's what they were all saying behind closed doors. And then going out and giving this fucking hidden, with some of the stuff we've seen, firsthand knowledge, there's no law against lying like that.
Yeah.
And what it's done to this nation, I think is immeasurable.
Oh, for sure.
It's immeasurable.
It's not good.
And if we can knock that shit off, the Hunter Biden story is more terrifying to me, not because of what was going on, not because of, I assume they're all doing this. Mm-hmm. The Hunter Biden laptop is 100% real. That is Hunter Biden's laptop. There are plenty of people who can confirm that. They've done all the backgrounds on that stuff. They know other parties that are involved in on those email strings. That story's true. For the media to suppress that story,
come on, man.
I mean, for him to not have to answer a single fucking question should infuriate every single American. And now that you've won your little election, Joe Biden, good for you. Congratulations, Democratic Party. You got Joe Biden through. Now that we've gotten him through, we all agree he won. Now can we take a look at the Hunter Biden story?
Right.
Because that, to me, is horse shit. That story is infuriating. I assume they're all doing it. I know it's not going to matter to voters. I knew it wouldn't matter before. But the hit the media's taken, I'm finding it hard to look up a story right now and believe anything I read. That's the damage
that's the
to it.
misinformation crap, dude. That's
I
all
don't
that social
trust
dilemma shit.
them.
Welcome.
What?
I said welcome.
Yeah.
I question everything to the annoyance of my family and friends. Like, that
Yeah.
isn't true. Maybe.
Maybe
Tell me more.
sort
Yeah.
of. Yeah.
Sucks.
And you can see the slant in everything. You can see the slant in all the reporting, and it's very, very frustrating. It's scary. Like, the media, in theory, is supposed to serve one of the most important roles in this country. They're the check and balance between the powerful and the people. That's it. That's what they do. This is state-run media propaganda arm right now. It's terrifying. It's been it for a long time. This is unprecedented in American history, what we're seeing right now. Unprecedented. And it'll probably stop. Some of this shit will stop, but I don't know how you gain that trust back.
Yeah.
I don't. I'm finding it hard to believe any fucking story I read right now. And that's sad. I don't know. We'll see how it plays out, and the fact that they don't even acknowledge it.
That's the thing to me.
It's
Like,
like,
he
really?
literally he wants to beat people up when they bring it up, and it's like, dude, why can't you just say no? It didn't.
Glenn Greenwald quit The Intercept. Glenn Greenwald, one of the
explain to me what that means. I'm not sure what that actually
he
means.
started the Intercept. Glenn Greenwald was part of the Snowden story, right? Wasn't Glenn Greenwald part of that? Gay guy, media guy, and they tried to censor his reporting at the Intercept about this Hunter Biden story, and he left on principle.
Gotcha.
Gave up. What is it? What does it say there?
No, I'm just confirming what you're saying about
Snowden.
Snowden. Yeah.
Yeah, he was the Snowden guy, right?
Yep.
So he's paid multiple six figures, $500,000 a year, doing the Intercept. Not to they cover his security. He's got global security because of the Snowden stuff and blah blah blah. And on principle, like media members going on Twitter and praising the blocking of tweets and emails or not emails, but tweets, social media. We need to censor more of this possible. No, Mark Zuckerberg does not get to fucking decide. Jack Dorsey from Twitter does not get to decide what you can see, or I can see, or Trav can see. It's not how this works. And to have media members defending that, pushing for that, Glenn Greenwald said, "Fuck you, I'm out. I'm not working here. Your job is to be the check and balance."
Yeah,
I had people telling me, "Oh, the Hunter Biden story. Why didn't Fox News share their sources with anybody?" Oh, I don't know, because it's not Fox News' job to source your news story, fuckface.
Yeah.
How about that? How about the New York Times does their own fucking sourcing? Just look at the smoke and go. It didn't take any sourcing.
I'm gonna miss what's her name. I hate that I forget her name. Is it Kelly? The Trump's
Kellyanne Conway?
press secretary.
Oh, Kayleigh McEnany?
Yeah, I'm gonna miss her so much because
she's hot.
honestly,
I'm gonna miss her
Well,
too.
for one, she's good looking, but the other stuff is
Harvard, I think. I think she's
But
at Harvard.
the stuff when you say
smart.
like that's your job, like that was one of my favorite clips of her the one time when they were asking about blah blah blah, and she goes, "Well, I have a question for you. Have you followed up with this? Here's some information. I asked you last Friday. Has any of you asked any questions about this?" And just literally dead silence. These motherfuckers.
Yeah.
And she just walks out.
Shameful.
And I'm gonna miss that because I think that's one of the best things Trump had going for that dude.
Yeah.
That chick. Her press conference to me, I wish I honestly would have watched them on a regular basis just because it was hilarious.
I think
and
I don't think everything is evil.
I don't either.
At its source. Okay, so when I get very heated talking about the media, who I think is corrupt as any fucking establishment we have, the established media, I think in going forward, I think if you're a candidate running for anything, I think Trump wins this election. Runaway, just go on Joe Rogan's show. Go sit down for 4 hours.
Right.
I think Hillary Clinton wins in 2016. She just takes Howard Stern up on his invite and goes and does 3 hours with Howard Stern.
Yeah.
Become a human being to the people. Don't rely on 20-second clips taken out of context. Don't rely on
do a long
2
fucking
minutes,
form thing.
2 minutes of a stump speech that's picked up by Anderson Cooper. Why are you doing that? Why would you go into that unfriendly fire when you know they chop up what you say and twist it and poison people? Come on here. You can come sit here. Any one of them can come sit here.
Right. Talk.
Joe
for
Biden could
hour.
come in here and we'll shoot the shit with him for 4 hours.
Right.
Go on Joe. Not here wouldn't do any good for him, but you know what I'm saying. I think you're better off. The media that's going on in podcasting right now is, I can't even tell you the extent of how much better it is than the propaganda media arm that you're getting in real life. Your cable news channels do not need to exist. Period. End of story.
Well, the thing is,
they're not doing reporting. They're not telling you the truth. They're twisting everything, and they're acting as a propaganda arm for one side. When Joe Biden is in the middle of what should be a fucking scandal, sorry, and if you put yourself in other people's shoes, and this was going on with Trump and Don Jr.,
God,
you're telling me the New York Times would go, "Oh, we don't have the sourcing for the."
They didn't care about sourcing. They never cared about
sourcing. They cared about sourcing when his tax papers were stolen.
Illegal?
Illegal, of course, federal offense.
No,
they didn't care about that.
It's
Russiagate. Russiagate was unsourced bullshit, top to bottom, every day that trickled out for 4 years.
Well, just think about this, dude. Just think about it. If you did the news, right? If you just did the news, and that was, these are the facts, maybe you can have some panels here and there, but if you just did the news and explain what it was to the people, why would you need 5 channels? Why would you need 8? You wouldn't need these channels. You wouldn't need 24 hours. They have to justify. They have to justify their jobs and why they're spending money and why advertisements. Why people watch. Why are you watching 24 hours of CNN? It's not needed.
No, it's
and
not.
So
you can
they
get the
need
gist
the
of
stories.
it in
they
5
need the
minutes.
stories, dude. They're jacking fucking off. They love that this election, dude. I hope they're hoping that the election goes to 2 weeks from now.
Yeah.
You think they want it to end on Friday? Why would they want it to end?
Well,
the guy on MSNBC. He's still wearing the same clothes he was on election night, and he's got the map up. And he's like, as we zoom into this county, dude, that guy's fucking getting off on this shit.
I kind of dig some of that stuff.
I don't hate it, but it's like
the dude standing in a hurricane.
Yeah, see the dude standing in the hurricane, I could shoot that guy in the face. Well, you don't need to be there. Just call a buddy on the ground. You don't need to fucking go there and stand in the storm.
But they're sitting there like, Mike, like, you need us. You need us to, we're doing this for you. I don't want to be up for 4 days straight. I'm doing it for you guys, man. I
like when they push the little thing. Ooh, we're in Allegheny County. Ooh.
No, dude, totally cool.
Technology.
I mean, it's pretty sweet. And those guys have a teleprompter. They don't know every county in America.
No, it's cool. It's cool. It is cool. But I'm just saying, like, that's not needed. They're getting...
No, you know what? It builds and builds and builds and builds. The thing that I hated was Fox had their predictor stamp. Did you see that bullshit? It's like we're just doing Vegas odd lines now. These votes came in and our predictor needle goes over. Like, what the fuck
I think
is
CNN
that?
did actually a better job than Fox the other night.
Do you? I didn't watch a lot of CNN.
I bounced back and forth between them, and I, for some reason, stuck on. It was all online. Not. I don't know about the coverage on cable. I'm talking about online.
Online, okay, yeah, I did that with ABC last time. I watched a lot of their online coverage. What I think we see when it seems weird. Does it seem a little weird that all of a sudden election night, these guys seem to do a decent job at CNN or Fox? The conclusion that
they've gone back into their ruts.
They've gone back into their ruts. The thing that I think is going on there is they're getting the news literally in real time as we are. So it doesn't give them an opportunity to spin the shit out of everything, which is what you do all day when you're churning the news. And then you get to your primetime programming and you spin. Yeah. These guys are literally seeing the returns come in one by one, second by second, like we are. And so it just doesn't give them that.
There still seem to be shenanigans to me. Like I noticed, like for like Michigan, I watched a lot of MSNBC for whatever reason, and dude, it was like no, but like they didn't even talk about Michigan, like like the polls ended at 9. Every other state, it was like, but when they did it right away, it was like Trump was up by like 17, and they just wouldn't talk about it. They just kept moving around to these other little places, and I'm like, whoa, are you gonna get into the Michigan shit or?
I'm not calling shenanigans on Michigan. I'm not.
No.
Hold on. No, but I absolutely went to bed at like 3:30 in the morning, and at 3 in the morning,
pretty good for you.
Yeah, it was
you were pulling an all-nighter.
No, well, you know what? You know why? Because they said we're stopping the count now. We'll pick it up tomorrow morning. Yeah. They said that, and then I happened to wake up at like 8 in the morning, and Trump went from a huge lead in Michigan to all of a sudden behind. I was like, wait a minute. I thought you guys weren't even starting to count again until 9 or 10 in the morning. Like, how did that fucking happen? I went to bed like, oh my God, that son of a bitch did it. Wow. Went to bed. They were stopping the vote. I woke up a couple hours later and he was losing everything. That seems fucking weird. I'm not saying there's shenanigans, but
I was more saying that like it
was a little weird.
I was more saying like the shenanigans in my mind would be is that they weren't if they decide when to tell us the information. And so if they're holding back, if they're like, oh man, Trump's beating Michigan right now, let's not really tell everybody because we don't want to let other people that are still voting. I don't know. That's more what I was getting at.
No, we knew the early returns, and they said this over and over on both, CNN.
Yeah, that it was going to be.
That it was going to be the early returns were getting counted. We were going to see those first, and those were going to lean heavily blue. And then the gap would close as the night went on, which is basically what happened, which is why it was weird when you saw them just call Arizona an hour and a half in before Florida's called, before Michigan's called. Arizona is called for Biden. Like that's
how does that? I honestly don't know how some of that works because I get that they've been doing it for a long time. I don't know the situation, but like some of the states get called, and it's like with 8% of the polling, I get it.
They're going on past trends.
Yeah, this is above my head. I know they know like how things are going to go, but it's just funny to see it.
No,
like,
the ones that were freaking me out when it was like 7% of the votes in, Trump is winning 63 to 34,
and we've
called it to Biden. And you're like, wow, okay, whatever.
Trust us.
Yeah, I don't. Arizona's the one that bothers me though. That's the one that you go because that would not normally go that way. So to call it that early, they're standing by it. We'll see. Did you see what Oregon voted for?
Yeah. Okay.
They've decided to decriminalize. Well,
How much are they? What is the
some
actual?
of this I don't. I'm trying to be fair about this. I've got a lot of experience
I
with
saw
drugs.
this, yeah.
I've got a lot of experience with drugs, and I'll be honest with you. In my prime, in the heyday, what I did not need was jail. You know, if you're struggling with any level of addiction, drug abuse, anything like that, just throwing some. Now, there's a difference between a hardcore drug dealer providing the community versus someone who's buying shit for personal use. And for a long time, you get caught with any of that shit, and they just throw you in jail. And that's horrible. If you've ever gone through opiate withdrawal, whether it's from heroin or pills, if you've ever gone through that, you know that is literally hell on earth. And I don't mean that figuratively. I mean that literally. It's hell on earth. It's a fucking nightmare that feels like you're going to die every second and it's never going to end. It's the worst feeling I've ever felt in my life. I don't care how many times some chick has broken the fuck out of my heart. It doesn't matter. It doesn't come close. Doesn't touch the idea.
Yeah.
And I was in a position to get help and have nurses and doctors
Right. A lot of
help
people
me.
obviously aren't.
The guy that just gets tossed in the clink and they go, see you in 4 days, fuck face. Like, that's horrifying.
And you can actually die from that shit, right?
Not really.
Oh,
Not-
no,
it's-
I
you know
thought you
what?
could. I thought you could.
DTs from alcohol are much, much more likely to kill you.
Gotcha.
But you're just going to shit your pants and be freezing, and you're going to feel it crawling out of your skin for a few days. It's a nightmare. I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy, and I mean that. So in Oregon, they've voters passed ballot measure, Oregon ballot measure 110. It's known as Oregon ballot measure 110, with 58, almost 60% of the vote, 58.8% of the vote under the measures, which go into force Feb 1, 2021. So coming up here, not too long, not too far off. A person found with hard drugs in their possession will have the option of paying a $100 fine or attending a new addiction recovery center instead of going to trial and facing possible jail time. A lot of this problem too is usually people that are in that position are down on their luck pretty hard. It's not like they're great savers. They're not. They're making decisions that aren't in their best interest for the future, perhaps.
Right.
Not great planners. We don't tend to be great planners, real forward thinkers. That sort of thing. And so once you get in the system, once you get thrown in the system, and
Now you're kind of just there.
and now you've got $10,000 in fines, and you've got a record. Like, trying to get back out of that is really difficult. It's really, really, really difficult. And some people go, fuck you shouldn't have done it. Yeah, well, how's that working for us? Historically, how's that
Right, it
working
doesn't,
for us?
obviously.
Doesn't. It hasn't. And so, believe me, and I know this, I can speak with personal experience. If you're in the middle of that, the last place you want to be is in the middle of that. In the middle of addiction that you don't see a way out, it's tough. And I feel for people. There's a lot of people in positions that don't have access to great help and, a support system. And that gets really difficult. That's, you start throwing massive fines on those people, jail time. Now they go to jail. Now they've lost their job.
Right.
Lose their job. Now they have got no income coming in. Now they've got this $10,000 hanging over their fucking head from the courts who are getting rich from all that stuff. So there's a lot of things you can point to in the criminal justice system and go, yeah, you know what? That guy's going through enough. Do we really need to fucking hammer him twice as hard for something like that? I don't know if this is the answer. Decriminalizing things like that. They're talking about cocaine, heroin,
Those are the only things is there more than that? That's all I heard.
all hard drugs.
You can't just walk around with a bucket of coke.
No.
right?
No, they're talking about personal.
Career change.
No, you cannot be selling it. And obviously, if you get pulled over, just like if you were drunk on the road, you get pulled over high as shit on heroin. They test you for heroin, and they're going to throw the book at you. That doesn't mean you can just drive around and shoot heroin.
Right. It's
I don't know if you know this, but heroin users don't tend to be real cleanup freaks. You know what I mean?
which is
So,
they probably
It's a
you think they would
problem.
we probably think they'd want to be just because of the needles and all, but
they don't tend to care as much. And, there is something very, very frightening about walking down a public street and seeing needles in a corner. And you see that in a lot of places. Walk around LA, you'll see that. On the beach. On the beach in Malibu, saw a fucking hypodermic needle.
I hate needles, as we've talked about.
Kids going to pick that up. Start playing with it. They are. They just do.
One time I was getting I guess not a CAT scan, but like
dog scan.
I don't know. Maybe it was a CAT, like just some kind of scan of my abdomen area, whatever. And the lady had to put the fluid in my arm, and I fucking hate needles, and I'm telling her how much I hate them, and she goes, "Oh, you have very good veins." I was like, "Oh, that would be good news if I ever decided to become a heroin addict." And she didn't quite know what to. She's like, "Okay,
Yeah.
well, into the machine you go, sir."
So yeah, people are obviously on both sides of the fence here in Oregon. While the proposal has been praised by drug reform activists, many expressed shock that they had passed this measure with such broad support. I'm so pissed, and these people are out there, of course.
Yeah.
That Oregon passed 110, again, the ballot measure. You really just decriminalized heroin, the drug that killed my cousin. He only shot up a personal use amount. Now he's gone.
Well, he was going to do it. Whether wasn't it illegal then? I don't understand.
It was.
So
yeah.
how did he? How did he get it?
I know. I think the fear is.
Of course.
No, not of course. I don't think it's an of course thing. There's a real risk of going. It's decriminalized, meaning people think it's legalized.
Right.
It's not legal. They're trying to take away the revolving door back into the prison system. They're saying that's an unfair, unwinnable battle that really hurts people that are already hurt.
Right. Yeah, you're right.
So, but when you make marijuana legal, when you make other drugs decriminalized, it gives a sense like, oh, it must be safe. Everything else in your life, your car, everything has regulations and safety features, and you go, well, I can go on that roller coaster ride. It won't hurt me. They've got this.
Right.
They've got a handle on this. If the government is saying, oh, yeah, marijuana's legal, it must be it's a healthy thing then. It must be good for me. I can smoke all the weed I want. I can buy all the fucking shit I want.
I didn't even think about that, honestly, when I was reading the stories.
I think mentally, it gives that perception like, yeah, all that shit we said before was wrong. Do your heroin, do your thing.
That's a good point. No, honestly, when I was reading the stories, I think that's I didn't even think about it. I just saw, hey, they decriminalize that, and I didn't think there's a difference for one, like you just said. I realized I just thought it meant legal, right? I just kind of thought, oh, okay.
Yeah, they're gonna be selling heroin at 7-Eleven. This is outrageous.
Can I go get bumps over at the?
The difference is you can't overdose on marijuana, which is they're the first state, right?
Oh, I would argue you can.
You're not going to kill yourself on marijuana, more than likely.
No,
but you sure as hell can.
Well, but there's a good argument.
Interesting to watch.
There are heroin addicts who could do heroin forever. The problem with heroin is you don't always. It's usually, and I've talked about this before. The problem with heroin, when people die and overdose, they're guys that have usually, it could be your first time, but for a lot of people, it's people that are very used to doing heroin, and they're doing the same amount over and over every day. They know, I take it now, and then I take another shot in an hour, and then I wait 2 hours, take another shot, and then once in a blue moon, some shit comes trafficked in, some black tar that's way pure, and all of a sudden, you get your regular dose of what you think is your heroin, and all of a sudden, it's 10 times stronger than it normally is. And you do that one shot, and you fucking OD and you die. So the argument for, well, just sell it in stores, sell it at Walmart. At least then you could have government regulation over it, and you could go, well, at least I know what's in my heroin. You don't, if you were buying black market Coca-Cola, you know what I mean? It'd be a different story. You trust when you go to the grocery store and you buy Coca-Cola, I know what's in this 12-ounce can. I don't have to worry that I'm going to drink this and keel over because some shithead wanted to cut it with something and make double his profits, and he's a street criminal anyway, so who cares? So there's a lot of context in there, and there's a lot of gray area. I fully understand that. Believe me, if they were selling fucking oxys in Walmart, I'd probably be an oxyhead again. So I understand the problem with this. If we could all just be good boys and girls and just do a little bit of heroin on the weekends, we'd all be good.
I agree with you. Can't put them in jail. That doesn't work. It'll be interesting to watch.
When you said that, by the way, and I'm not trying to put this in the same category of heroin by any means, but
Oh, please do. E.
Let's
hear about your Bud Light habit.
No, I did in a situation a few years ago, and I had dabbled in some different, more harder drugs.
Well,
and
please tell more.
And
what'd you do? Blow or something?
Acid, and
Ooh, that sounds like
and I did some at the Electric Forest, a very small amount with some friends. I'm like, oh, that wasn't that bad. And when I went to that Imagine Festival,
did you like it?
I did. Yeah. And when I went to that Imagine Festival, I was like, okay, I had this amount at Electric Forest. I'm just going to get a little more, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to have half of it in the middle of the day and half of it there. And I bought like double what I thought.
Hell yeah.
so I had
double dose?
I want to see E high on acid.
I doubled.
I don't know that I do. Do you not shut the fuck up? I imagine you would blather.
Well, I will say this: I had a situation where, essentially at the Electric Forest, I took half, and then I bought two. Two full tabs. I took a half at Electric Forest. So I took one full, so twice what I had taken at the forest, thinking I was taking half.
Yeah.
Then did more when I went into the thing. That's where I got fucked. But I will say at one point I was sitting there. Those people come by, those fucking things, those hippie things. They sell these little pins that you put on your hat and shit like that.
Yeah.
And I really liked this pin that this girl had got, and I started bawling at the beauty of it. And I was like, who made this? And she's just like, my husband. I'm like, you tell him this is fucking gorgeous. This is so beautiful.
Were you drunk too?
No.
I was just straight acid.
But it was just like, but the point was, it just made me think of that, dude. Because that is what I did. I literally thought I was buying one full hit of it, and I was buying two.
Yeah.
And so what happened was I took the one, and then I was actually fine on that one, but then I went into the getting in line to go to the festival. I'm like, well, time to take that other half, and holy shit, I was in a bad way for.
Yeah.
By the way, at one point I was sitting by a help desk, puking my guts out into a trash can. And they're just
Did
not
they help you?
Nope, just kind of
Another one of these guys.
Just one of these guys.
We've seen these guys now.
But that can. I know that's the same as hard. I know that's not the same as what you're describing. But the point is, it's an example of like I just being a dumb idiot.
Yeah,
thought I was buying one thing, and
these. What Oregon's doing here, it's you're decriminalizing blah blah blah. Their thing is trying to become, what do they call it? A rehabilitation state. Instead of just a revolving door to prison, we want to do that. And there's examples around the world, not to compare us to Portugal, but Portugal went through a horrible time where, you had outrageous amounts of death. Decriminalization by some accounts, if you listen to some people, I'm sure there's another argument that I'm not terribly familiar with, but worked for them. I hope it does in Oregon too, some people say. Today's victory is a landmark declaration that the time has come to stop criminalizing people for drug use. Measure 110 is arguably the biggest blow to the war on drugs to date. The Oregon Nurses Association, Oregon chapter of the American College of Physicians support this.
I think it makes sense. I mean, think about this, by the way. Honestly, you talk about that. Like, personally, I would never, ever do heroin, for example. But so if it got decriminalized in Michigan, it wouldn't matter to me. But if it helps people you're talking about, people that are like not get caught in the lifelong system of money and loss, and stuff where they can't even get out of it ever.
Yeah. Who knows what the reality is? It's somewhere in the middle. And that's the argument for it. Like, what? Oh, you're just going to go. So if they decriminalize it, what are you going to move to Oregon and start shooting heroin? Well,
right.
No, that's absurd. That's ridiculous. It'll be interesting to see if it works, how it works. My problem is I've seen how these uber super fucking liberal cities have operated.
Yeah.
You see, trust me when I tell you, Michigan, you do not want a California your Michigan.
Right.
You don't want those people running your shit. You just don't. You do, when you drive down 696 and you see a bridge, it might not be the cleanest thing in the world, but there's not 12 people living under it. And the city's way to combat that is not to install a porta potty and come by and empty it once in a while.
Right.
It's fucking disturbing. It's under every single bridge in Los Angeles, San Francisco, up and down. Like middle of the state, not so much, but anywhere the people are congregated, New York is going through this. This is in play, real time, seeing what these super majority liberal, over liberal policies have done to these areas. They're homeless encampments. They just are. They're shit. It's very shitty looking. It smells. You don't want to fucking go for a walk with your kid down that. I was telling you guys about, Apple's world headquarters, $5 billion. It's a jewel in the area. And right outside it, Appleway Drive is right there by the freeway. And on literally right there is a whole fucking row of just
those
tents.
uber rich people don't want to. We must have our social. Someone like Bezos. And look, I'm not a socialist. I don't think he has to just start handing out money to people. But it's just so funny. On the same hand, though, they go out there and babble on about how they're so progressive and we're not going to let you see the Trump thing because of this or that. And it's like, why don't you, dude? Bezos gained like what, $80 billion during the pandemic.
Homelessness for a couple $1 billion.
Dude, he gained.
It would cost a couple $1 billion. He could do that. He could drop that overnight.
Right. Like I said, he gained how many? Dude, I'm serious. Did he gain like 50 billion, 80 billion just during the pandemic?
Of course. Dude, who wasn't using Amazon?
So why can't, why don't they put the money where their fucking mouth is sometimes?
Yeah,
it's like,
I know.
I know he's a bad example because he's like Dr. Evil, but
yeah, he's a.
I don't think he's a human. I'm not sure.
No,
that he is.
I'm with you there. I don't think Zuckerberg is either.
Zuckerberg looks like a fucking
alien.
Looks
like a fucking alien.
Looks like what's the
pedophile
from Star Trek? I forget, but
yeah.
Data.
Sort of. Yes.
Just put the little or not. Yeah, no, Data didn't have that.
No, he just had that Zuckerberg face.
Yeah,
it's creepy. It's weird. Yeah, so we'll see how this plays out. I don't know. I understand that the need to try to do something to try to fix this because.
Well, like you said, the problem is that the other thing isn't working. Just saying we're going to throw you in jail isn't working. So I mean, I guess it's
Oh yeah.
So so that you can't do if that's not working, might as well try something, I guess.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. Anyway, we should probably call it there. I'm heading back to California tomorrow. I know that's a bummer for some to hear. I'm a work in progress. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? I'm doing my best, everybody. But I love doing this. There's some very exciting things coming up. I don't want to get ahead of my skis here, and talk about it. But there's some exciting shit coming sooner than later. And I can't wait to get.
Should I stay ready?
What's that?
Should I stay ready?
Hell yeah. Right. Hell yeah, you should stay ready. This is the only thing I can do.
Constantly, by the way. Tom,
anytime.
He means, at the ready, like.
If I had a pager, I'd give you my number.
Hell yeah.
He doesn't just mean kinda. He means
I
like.
just send you boobs all day on your pager. Boobs. But no, I appreciate everybody. I don't know if, I honestly have no idea if 2 people have listened to us since we've come back or 5 people. I assumed.
Solid. Yeah.
I assumed that by this point everyone would have been gone. So anybody that's there and listening, I can't tell you how much that's appreciated, and how fun this is to do, especially with you guys. I love doing it, and there's some exciting things coming up. I know I've said that before. I just can't talk much about them right this second, but trust me, they are going to be extremely exciting. So with that,
looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun, and I hope you guys are all fully involved with everything.
Oh, and by the way, the mic is telling you what's happening right now. So that doesn't. I don't need a week from now an instant. What happened? He's telling you what's happening right now.
Look, I needed to come home. It was.
I know.
It was no. That's good. Whatever. I needed to come home and work on some things, and still working some stuff out, and I'm getting close. What are you doing?
Doesn't this look like a face?
Sort of. Yeah, a little bit. And on that note.
No one knows what that is. I just said something.
Yeah, it's a coaster.
A coaster that has a stain that looks like a face.
Yeah, thank you. You've interrupted what I was saying.
Or a boob.
Yeah, I don't see a boob.
No,
Okay.
it looks like a face.
Anyway, all right, we'll call it there. Thanks, everybody, for hanging with us. Thank you, Travis, for everything, buddy. And Isis, I will talk to you soon. I'll talk to the rest of you soon as well.
You've been been listening to the Detroit Cast with your hosts, Mike and Jay. From all of us at Radio for One Studios, thank you for listening. And as always, thank you